Shares of Stifel are off their lows, down about 6.5% today. They beat on revenue, but reported an earnings miss this morning. The company, in fact, is seeing record revenue in wealth management right now. Stifel also has distributed about $1 billion of PPP loan commitments. All this amid a pandemic which has dramatically reshaped how the company works. 90% of employees are now working remote, and the firm has expanded from 8 primary trading desks to nearly 200 separate locations. For more on what the future of finance could look like post-coronavirus, let's welcome in Stifel Chair and CEO Ron Kruszewski. Ron, it's great to have you. Welcome.
How are you, Kelly?
Well, pretty good, all things considered. Let me start with the most controversial thing here. It's the PPP program. You guys probably caught that you were name-checked by Junior's Cheesecake when he was, explaining to us why he took the money but doesn't plan on paying workers just yet in this whole big thing a few weeks back. Anyway, he was very grateful that he was able to quickly get the money at that point. What has the process been like for Stifel, and how does it either fit or not fit most of the conversation about how this program is going?
Well, look, the PPP program was intended to get money into the economy and get money into the hands like Junior's Cheesecake. I mean, there was some, confusion about when he was going to use it. But look, their stores are closed, and that was very important to do that. So I think the PPP program has, been effective. There are cases where, people got the money that really don't need it. And I think that you've all done a good job of reporting on this, and I think that'll come to forgiveness. So my message on PPP is if you took it and you didn't really need it, don't ask for forgiveness.
Oh, interesting. So in other words, just pay the money back, which is the other piece of the program. What is the guidance for your employees when it comes to people who are asking for them? What is the underwriting process like? Are you worried that Stifel yourself is going to end up on the hook for any of this money? I mean, talk through those considerations.
Well, no, I think, first of all, we worked in a joint venture with someone. But regardless, we followed the guidelines. The borrowers, it was on the borrowers to basically certify that they needed it, and it was up to the banks to process it. So I don't feel that that's the case. Again, I think that the issue here isn't going to be whether or not someone got a 1% loan. The issue is going to be who actually got it forgiven. So right. I'll stay with that, and I hope that we come up with some rules and some guidelines to make sure that people that really need it are also the ones that are getting it forgiven. Yeah, and we're also seeing the Fed obviously coming out with some kind of innovative, different ideas as it prepares to roll out the Main Street funds. I want to move on and ask you about something just of personal interest, which is what is the future of the workplace going to look like? I mean, there's huge societal implications to this beyond just how close you're sitting to your neighbor and whether, the cubicle landscape of Dilbert is making a comeback. I mean, we had the CEO of Barclays say just yesterday he doesn't think there's ever going to be 7,000 people in a building again. What does that mean for commercial real estate, for architecture, for construction workers? Is there actually going to be a CapEx boom as companies have to reshape their workplaces? Certainly there's going to be some changes. I still think that we have to get back, and I want to come back to this, but we have to come back to what were the actual numbers on this pandemic. Because you can make the argument that there won't be, buildings anymore. But look at New York. I mean, New York was literally built on the subway system, literally. If New York can't move the number of people in mass transit, then are we going to have New Yorks anymore? You can take that down to buildings and to offices and everywhere else. So I'm not ready to write off buildings as yet. We're working 90% remotely, and it works now. But I will tell you, there's a lot of esprit de corps, a lot of culture, and a lot of creativity that comes when people are together.
Absolutely. So I take your point that we shouldn't assume that, 5 or 10 years out, we're still going to be making decisions based on coronavirus. But in the meantime, you guys have to decide, even in terms of liability, right? What are those works? When are people coming back to work? What does that workplace look like? What are your thoughts there?
Well, there's huge challenges. Again, we want to keep our people safe. At some point, people are going to come back to work, and there are going to have to be protocols, and there's going to have to be understandings, not only the coronavirus, but maybe the next pandemic, whatever it is. But let me pivot for a second, Kelly, because I hear all these things about everything being done on the back end. What is the Fed doing on the back end? What about all these controls on the back end that we're doing to support the economy? I live in St. Louis, and I want people to start focusing on this, and that is the big headline in St. Louis this week was that our third largest healthcare system furloughed 2,000 employees.
Yeah.
And I don't hear anyone really talking about the fact that one of the businesses that are being the most impacted here, and the businesses that are frankly going bankrupt, are our hospitals.
Yes, absolutely.
And I'm willing to bet, I'm also willing to bet that you're going to be reading across the country healthcare workers being let go, while on the other hand, we're talking about not getting back together because we don't want to overwhelm our healthcare system.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying, in other words, the emphasis right now on, hey, Ron, what's the future of the city going to look like, is ignoring the fact that these hospitals are going under right now. What do you think should be done to, in order to support that? We've seen these hang-ups in Congress over whether to distribute more hospital relief funds through these relief packages. Is that the best means forward?
Well, no, the best move forward is to get some testing, to let it get back into the private sector so that the people that need, that you said the department stores or the restaurants can do what they need to do to get the consumer back. It isn't about what the government's going to do. That's really not going to matter. If you say I can go to a restaurant tonight, that doesn't mean I'm going to go. Mm-hmm. It means I will go when I'm comfortable. And we have to be finding ways to get people comfortable to come back to work, people comfortable to go to restaurants. Frankly, and this is the most important, we got to get people to be comfortable to go to their own hospital, which they're not going to right now. And that is the issue, is that we've created a scenario where there's sharks in the water and everyone's afraid, and we need to bring that back as we get more information. I'm not trying to downplay this,
right,
but we better be looking at the real issue.
So you're going full Elon Musk here, or just a partial?
I'm not. I believe. I believe that the economy. If you tell me that we're going to have restaurants be at 25% capacity for the next year, my prediction is that every restaurant will go broke.
Absolutely.
You can't do that. So this is an issue on the front end about how we get people comfortable. We need to restart the economy. We need to keep people safe. But we cannot be continually looking at what the Fed's going to do to prop up an economy. That is not the long-term answer.
Fair enough. And Ron, come back anytime. We'll talk more about what that path forward will look like. We appreciate it.